Welcome to the Construction Disruption Podcast, where we uncover the future of design, building, and remodeling.
I'm Todd Miller of Isaiah Industries, manufacturer of specialty metal roofing. Welcome to Construction Disruption, the show that explores what's working, what's new, and what's next in the construction and remodeling worlds. I'm excited about today's show, but first let me welcome my co-host today, the illustrious, the inimitable Ryan Bell. How you doing, Ryan?
Hey, Todd. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I was thinking the other day, though, about a girl that broke up with me once upon a time after we ran a marathon. She broke up with me.
Really?
You know, we had a good run going there for a while. Anyway, okay, that was not true at all. So, just a reminder to our audience, we are once again in this episode doing our challenge words. That sounds scary, doesn't it? But that is where each of us, Ryan and I, and our guest are going to be trying to work some top secret, kill us if you find it out word into the conversation as seamlessly as possible. And at the end of the show, we will tell you whether we were able to work in our challenge words or not. Those challenge words were put up forth by one of the others here on the show. So, shall we go forward, Ryan?
Yeah, let's dive in.
So things are changing incredibly rapidly right now in the world of home improvement marketing. And anyone who knows me knows that I'm a bit long in the tooth and I've been around a lot of years. And things are changing faster now in terms of marketing and lead generation than I've ever seen them before. If you are in the industry, of course, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And chances are you're trying to figure out what your company is going to do about it. Well, today, our guest is someone who every day is helping contractors to generate more leads and to turn those leads into profitable sales. Woohoo, we like that with just a few easy steps. Today's guest is Austin Rosenbaum of Demand IQ. Austin's company is helping contractors across the country lead their industries by head-on tackling the question that historically everyone hated to hear too early in the process. What is this home improvement going to cost me? Austin, it's a pleasure to have you here today. We're going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff. Welcome to Construction Disruption.
Hey, Todd. Ryan, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Very good. Well, so I think it's interesting. I know that you have a bachelor's degree. I've been creeping on you on LinkedIn. I know that you have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. You have an MBA. How did you find yourself to start a business that is helping home improvement contractors across the country, with that being your background?
That's a good question. It takes me back a little bit. I was sitting in my stats class and I was learning about a little bit about marketing. We were looking at problems that had to do with marketing, and I was thinking, I was working at a home improvement business, and I was thinking to myself, boy, there's a lot of kind of stats concepts here, especially around what was known as machine learning at that time. It's basically just predictive modeling. And I thought, man, there's a lot of opportunities to probably use smarter techniques to drive lower cost of acquisition or lower cost leads and drive more volume if we could just be a little more targeted with our marketing. And that was the birth of an idea. I went into an entrepreneurial class and I was like, I'm going to work by myself on this class and I'm going to, spin up a little business here and basically build a marketing agency that was supporting home improvement contractors and using predictive analytics to try to figure out who you should market to. And that was the beginning of this company. And it was basically just taking things that I was seeing and learning about and seeing if there was problems I could solve. And there was things that I could get paid to do, and that was great. I had right away had a business right out of my MBA school, getting paid to work with home improvement companies to improve their marketing.
That's awesome. And how often is that, how great things happen when folks are working in something and they see a need and they say, gee whiz, I can help some others. Well, give us an overview, if you would, of what Demand IQ does, what you're up to today, how the business has morphed, that type of thing.
Well, just like anyone's business, if you've been around the block a little while, you change and you adjust and you make pivots and you grow with the market and listen to your customers a whole lot. And that's what we've done at Demand IQ. And we started off as a very like data driven, business with marketing insights and all this stuff. And we realized that in the process of helping contractors attract customers and turn those into, projects, that there was a customer experience flaw that, looking at I was a millennial homeowner, and I'm looking around at the process that the folks that I was working with were offering to their homeowners and going, I don't know if that's how I want to shop. I don't know if that's a parallel to the experience that I'm getting when I go on Amazon, or if I get insurance from, Geico, or get a mortgage from Rocket Mortgage, or, the list goes on of all these kind of progressive experiences that depart quite a lot from the experience that you get when filling out a form on a home improvement contractor website, getting, a million phone calls, maybe if you're filling out one on one of those lead aggregator sites, and then having to sit down with two or three different contractors and taking up lots of time in your schedule when the world around us is giving us information at the speed that it is. It feels outdated, right? And I think there was a point maybe a couple years into our marketing agency that we said, boy, there's got to be a better way, and there's got to be there's opportunity here. And so we started building tools to work with our customers to help them drive better, lower cost leads and more leads through this more modernized shopping experience where I could get a price instantly. And I think we proved that out with a couple of companies, and then I went and partnered with a friend from grad school, and we raised a good chunk of change to go and get after a software product to transform that business from a services business and agency into a scalable product. And where we sit today is we serve hundreds of contractors of a variety of different types: roofing, exteriors, even some stuff inside the home, with the ability to provide an instant online estimate. And what that is not necessarily giving the final quote, but actually just helping that homeowner arrive at a budget, right? Just giving them a basic sense of what could this project cost, so that you can qualify the right people into your process and not waste time with people who otherwise probably are just going to kick your tires.
Excellent. Well, I'm curious that, I mean, this whole idea of pricing transparency was something that our industry was just horrible at. And we avoided it like the plague for so many years. As you went out and started talking to contractors about this, any interesting reactions, or did people immediately buy into it? Or, what's that progress been like?
That's a great question too. I think so. We started this initiative in 2019, long time ago, in relative terms, right? In relative terms to technology and to this concept. I think we were probably the first to do this for home improvement. And at that time, I really had to just show them the data on the cost per lead, because otherwise it was quite an uphill battle with the idea of price transparency, that, that they could, moving the quote from the kitchen table sit to the top of the funnel was it's a big ask. And I just had to show them the data. And luckily at that time I was, actually helping drive the leads. Like, we were the ones that were generating them with the contractor for the contractor. And so we had a little bit more leverage at that time of, just, we were kind of in control of the budget. Like, we were actually managing the budget for the contractor. And if this made sense to lower your cost per lead, then they would follow that kind of instruction. So once we brought that to a number of contractors and was able to communicate that this was something that was advantageous and that was, something that could actually help grow your business, I think more got on board. But that's definitely there's always been lots of education required around this topic, because, as I mentioned, it's a big shift. And I think only in the last 2 years, and really in the last 12 months, we've seen a lot more contractors get excited about this, and it seems like it's really catching on. And it's not just in roofing, but it's really across all all disciplines of home improvement and home services.
We certainly have seen that shift be pretty cataclysmic. I mean, it's happening pretty quickly, no doubt about it. And I think it's invigorating to see that kind of change happening in an industry that really has been pretty stodgy and slow to change. Well, let's talk a little bit about consumers, about homeowners. So I know that we at Isaiah Industries kind of feel like COVID became the tipping point, if you will, when consumers finally started to want to buy home improvement services in ways similar to what Amazon had taught them that they would be able to buy everything else. Would you agree with that, that sort of became a tipping point? And if so, can you reflect a little bit on, what those changed consumer expectations and wants meant to the home improvement industry?
Yeah, well, certainly the way that contractors were marketing was, at least that was the most foundational change. Was contractors went from, I don't, a lot of roofers and other trades were like knocking on doors, and when they couldn't do that, they needed to go into the digital domain. And if they wanted to go into the digital side, they needed to be smart about it. They needed to be different than all the other noise that was available on the platform. And so using an instant quote was actually a way to differentiate your business and to not stand out from all the noise. Now, obviously, there's a consumer aspect and a dimension here that's driven by changing consumer expectations, and a more marketing dominated funnel is the word that I used during COVID. Was consumers were spending more time shopping on their own because that was what you did. Like, you remember back in those days, you were just kind of bored on your couch and doing research and spending more time learning because you had time, and because you certainly weren't going to invite that person out to your home until you really know for sure that that was something that you were going to invest in. And so yeah, I think consumers certainly were driven by the experiences that they were having around them, and during COVID they were spending just more time researching, and I think that's rubbed off on them. And kind of now that's the standard, is that you're going to go online. And for the majority of US homeowners at this point, like especially new home buyers, I think what's interesting is there's homeowners and then there's new home buyers, and now millennials are mostly new home buyers. And so those new home buyers are, making upgrades and retrofits to their home. And so I think one of the important things is just separating, like, generationally, like the difference in shopping behavior. But certainly COVID drove everybody, but millennials have this propensity to shop on their own, and certainly Gen Z even more than those younger than those older homeowners.
Interesting. Well, so as these changes have happened in terms of consumer expectations, how have Google and the various AI agents, how have they responded to that?
Man, Google's really put on some brass knuckles with this concept. They're kind of laying down the law, saying, "Hey, this price transparency is something that contractors really need to, you know, start using, because they realize that the experience that homeowners have with going and gathering quotes is laborious, that there's a lot involved, and that it's keeping homeowners from starting their process. They want people to have a great experience with using Google. And if homeowners are, finding themselves giving up in their middle of their process because they don't want to sit down, that means that there's less people spending, less contractors spending more money on Google, less people getting the results that they're looking for. And so what they've done is they've introduced this new filter at the very, very top of Google search. It's the very first thing you see when you type in roofing company near me, or windows company near me, siding company near me, any sort of local search phrase. Maybe it's like roofing company Denver, any local phrase. This button pops up at the top of search, and it works just like the concept of top rated or open now, if you've used that for restaurants. So if you're a restaurant person, you know that when you click on top rated, it's only going to show businesses that are top rated or open now. So the same concept, there's only three options at the top of Google search now. It's online estimates, top rated, and open now. So if you click on that online estimates button, just like what happens with open now and top rated, it's going to only show contractors that are showing online pricing. And this is a big change, right? There's a lot of there's steps that you'll need to take. It's not terribly difficult, but this is a new paradigm where Google is, kind of saying that this is what they expect homeowners to get when they search for home improvements.
Yeah, I mean, I'll often hear people say that, oh, Google's doing this to me, but really Google's responding to what the consumer expectation is. And I think it's important for people to remember that. Well, um, not to scare anybody. Well, frankly, I think we do need to scare a few people. What are the risks for contractors who just keep trying to do things the same old way? Maybe they say, oh, it's okay. I'll just ignore the digital stuff and double down on home shows or newspaper advertising or something. What do you see as the real risks there?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly see Google as being a top performing lead source, right? Like the deep funnel nature of people who are shopping on Google is hard to ignore. Like if someone's searching for roofing provider near me or getting a price quote for a new roof, like those are very, very deep funnel ready to buy people. So if you wanted to put your budget in TV or radio or print, man, let's think about what that type of person is that you're hitting. One, you certainly can't get as targeted because these are you're just going and saying, "Hey, random person, hey, are you open to buying a new roof?" That's a lot of wasted budget. So I think the only time that it makes sense to go into TV, radio, print is when I mean, print seems like they're getting some different results, but the TV and radio, that stuff is for when you are already maximizing your Google and your Meta when you can't spend any more in your market. We're talking, you're spending tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars a month already into those deep funnel channels like Google and Meta to then say, I got to go get more people in the top of the funnel and try to bring those people down. So I would just say you're leaving money on the table if you're not maximizing Google right now.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, talking about the modern consumer, the changed consumer, if you will, what are their expectations? Before they even talk to a home improvement salesperson, what are the things that they are trying to learn, and what are their expectations when they first invite someone to come? Hey, talk to me.
Well, I think that the biggest, like I said, about the concept of budget, right? What is the budget that I need to start my project? What are the different budget levels? Do you have, are there tiers to this? Is it what's a metal roof cost compared to an asphalt shingle roof, right? So I think that people are just trying to understand, like, is this a project I can even start today, or is this something I'm going to have to save up for? And so that's the very first foundational level. But then beyond that, they are wanting to know more details about the products and services that you offer, right? Like what does a metal roof system, what is the difference? It's a lifetime roof. It's like this is something that's an investment in your home. And so communicating that value proposition is something that we've done within our software, I think, to a deeper degree than any other instant quote platform out there. We've created a very rich experience that allows you to showcase your products and really explain and articulate the value of those products, because it's not just about price, right? I'm a price tool salesman that's telling you that it's not just about price. And that's something that's very important and reflected in our product. And so they want to know a little bit more. They're going to do their research. Like, you know that when you go on Amazon, you're looking at a number of different attributes on that Amazon product card. You're looking at reviews, you're looking at those FAQs and descriptions of the product, you're looking at the photos. Those are all things that are reflected inside of Demand IQ, and we make it easy for a contractor to set that up and showcase products. Of course, Isaiah is already in there, but any even windows and different types of other products that you could be retailing can be configured and showcased inside of our tool.
Can you share with us maybe some case study information on a contractor you've worked with, and how this changed their business or changed the trajectory of their business?
Yeah, I think that, and there's a metal roof provider in the Great Lakes region that uses our tool very strongly on meta ads. Right, they're really, really big in using our tool to differentiate their ads. As I mentioned earlier in this conversation, that like there's a lot of noise out there with advertising, and if you can provide something of value to your homeowner, to call it a better carrot, right? Just for lack of better words, dangling a better carrot, you can get more results. And so they're using our product to be able to drive lower cost leads. I think we've cut their cost per lead in half, maybe from $70 down to sub $50 or sub $40 even. And they're spending about $2,000 a week on Meta ads, and they're seeing between $70 and $100,000 in sales. And they're using it as like an engine, a conversion engine for leads and to get quality appointments to set their ads apart. There's really like two different use cases for our product. There's the I want to go get more leads on one of these paid ad channels, and then there's the I want to kind of harvest more leads from my website. Like people that are already coming to me, I want to harvest more of those. Just as an analogy, I want to squeeze more lemonade out of my lemons, right? Like, so if you're a business that's been around for a number of years, if you have reviews, you've got people coming to your website, there are businesses that are using our tool to just increase the overall level of results that you're getting from your website, sometimes on the order of 2 to 3 times more leads from just using our product, just adding it to your site and just giving them that better option for getting started in their process. If I can lower the barrier to getting started, I can get more people started and get more results. It's just about developing less friction in the process and providing a better value, right? Like again, that carrot analogy. If I dangle the carrot, I get more bites, right? So that's how folks use it, is either as like a conversion engine for their paid social and paid ads, or more of an extraction tool for getting better results from their website. So those are really the two main use cases.
Well, I love it. Well, tell us a little bit about what it looks like when you onboard a new client. I mean, what does that process look like when someone says, "Hey, Austin, your team, I want to get this started." What's that process look like for them?
Number one is going to be we're going to make sure you have a website, right? So let's talk about who's a good fit for this, right? So people that have websites that are getting leads from their site today would say, let's work with a marketing agency. So maybe you've got one, or maybe you've got an internal team member. We add the tool to the website. Of course, it's programmed with existing materials. So things like Isaiah are already in there. You just need to set up your price points for those materials. And then we can embed or add this product to your website with basically just copying and pasting it onto your site. And then it lives on your site, whether it's a banner or whether you actually put it onto the page and maybe you add some photos around it or an explainer, however you want to showcase it. It's a way for a homeowner to just enter their address and get back that online quote. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about how Google is changing the rules here, and keeping up with them is, an ever changing task that, like, you have to play against their rules. And so the way it works to actually rank for that online estimates filter, to start showing up on page one of Google under online estimates, there are really 3 steps. So the first step is inside your Google business profile. You need to turn on a new attribute called online estimates. It's very simple. It's just you click on a button and it turns it on. You need to have a online estimate tool configured, which is, we just talked about that. How to configure it is just very simple. It's just add your products, pricing, and add it to the site. We also can integrate with your CRM. So if you're, using like Job Nimbus or AccuLinks or Service Titan or anything like that, we can get the leads to you. And then the last step is actually creating a dedicated page on your website that speaks to online estimates. So that means that you've got a title that says online roofing estimate or online siding estimate. And then I ideally also like your local city name too. And then once you have those, that is going to increase the likelihood that you're going to show up on Google when someone clicks on that button right under the search bar for online estimates. I would encourage any listener to go and Google their local market today, see whether there are companies serving online estimates. And I would guess, or I would venture to believe, that most markets do not have a lot of competition today, and that you have an opportunity, as any listener here has an opportunity, to go and start doing this, to have a potential page one ranking on Google that otherwise might have been very difficult to get, because you're able to set something like this up with a low monthly subscription cost, a little bit of marketing juice, and certainly be able to enjoy the fruit of more leads from Google. As I mentioned, very deep funnel, ready to buy type people coming from that channel.
Well, good stuff. Well, I'm kind of curious. You have your finger on the pulse of all of this stuff. I mean, as you look into your crystal ball, anything you see dramatic as far as further changes over the next 5 years or so?
For sure. So why, there's the customer experience justification of like Google's doing this because it's a better experience. That's one part. That's part A. Part B of why they're doing this is because they feel like they want to enable their AI agents that will shop on behalf of homeowners to go to your site and get results for them. So they're, instead of homeowners going to your site, well, in the future, I'm going to just queue up an agent. I'll say, to my phone, hey, I've got a leak in my roof, or, my roof's getting old. Alexa or Siri or, what, chat, GPT, whatever, whoever I'm using, can you go and get me 3 quotes? And then it'll go find 3 relevant roofing companies or 3 relevant providers. It'll go to their website and then it'll come back and it'll say, hey, they actually have 3 different roof system options. They've got this Isaiah, this other one, and, a few others. Which one do you want a quote for? And then it'll say, I can go and get you that quote and actually retrieve it and bring it back to you, so that Google feels like they're doing a complete job, or that ChatGPT feels like it's doing a full end-to-end job for that homeowner of gathering some basic pricing details. And that's what Google wants, is to feel like they're getting outcomes for homeowners and not just getting them a provider, but actually getting them the information that homeowner is really seeking. And as we started the show with, everybody is just after, gosh, how much roughly is this going to cost? And so that's what Google really wants to get its AI bots to be able to provide. And this is a stepping stone for AI to actually start using your website to gather that information for homeowners. And in the meantime, before we have tons of bots doing this stuff, which inevitably I think will happen by the end of this year, it's for homeowners. It's to improve your homeowner satisfaction and improve your customer experience, improve the trust that you're offering to your experience, and be able to really ensure that you're building a relationship early and getting people that otherwise maybe would have left your website and gone someplace else if you didn't offer this type of experience.
Quick question here. What are your thoughts on kind of the difference between like a pricing table that like we're used to seeing if you maybe go to like a website where you're going to subscribe to something and they have different pricing tiers with a price, versus a tool that's more like a calculator where the user needs to select or give some input? I certainly see the benefit into the input side of it, that you can, the more invested somebody is in kind of giving information one step at a time, the more likely they are to input their, share their information with you and become a lead instead of just seeing a price on there. How do both of those play with AI? Do you think AI will eventually be able to go fill those forms out or click the buttons and go through that process? Or where's that headed, I guess?
Yeah, well, that is, so I think there's a couple questions there, but yes, AI is going to be able to, and can, pretty much already go to these tools and use them for you. Now, it's a little clunky, and I think on both sides, on the agent builder side, so on the Google or ChatGPT side, it's a little clunky. And then on our side, like, we're improving to make them more agent ready, right? So I think both of those will improve, and yes, that will definitely happen. On the other side, the comparison of like a table lookup versus a personalized experience, I think what you're sacrificing with the table is that lead capture experience, like you're mentioning, that opportunity to really wow someone with a full report that's personalized for them and deliver them, like I mentioned, some of that content that's collateral to your estimate, to your price point, which is your reviews and your video about who you are and what makes you different, and justifying those price points. Those are all things that you can do inside of our software that a table by itself would either require someone who likes to read a lot, which we know homeowners kind of glance at things, they're not getting deep. But if we just give them this focused experience where they just enter their address, get a ballpark price, and then learn about you, they can then schedule an appointment right away with all of that context in hand. So I would say it's just another level. It's another level better at converting. And I think, the name of our game is just, how do we get you more conversions? And that seems to be the way that homeowners want to shop with their, goldfish length attention span, right? Like they want quick, fast, easy, and giving them a really quick way to do that is great. Now you might ask, like, okay, so where is this going with ChatGPT? And what about these AI overviews? And is how do I show up there? And is this pricing going to be there inside of AI? Well, what's interesting is that we're actually seeing our customers' instant estimate pages being deep, like linked inside of the AI summaries. So we're seeing your brand showing up in the AI summary with a link to click on it to then go to your page. So it will, if someone says roofing company, and I think Los Angeles was the last place I checked this. In Los Angeles, it was actually giving me companies in the AI summary that had a page on their site where I could go and do this experience. And I think that that's one level better than if you ever use ChatGPT at the beginning and or Gemini at the beginning. It would just say a roof in Denver or in LA or whatever was like usually around this cost. Now it's saying here's a provider for this type of experience and here's their dedicated page. And I think you'll start to see advertisements and things start to show up there where you can actually strategically place your instant estimating experience when someone is doing that as well. So I think there'll be an opportunity to actually have advertisements to ensure you're showing up in those things. But even in the kind of organic AI SEO side, these pages are starting to rank.
I'll tell you, it is indeed a brave, bold new world out there, and we're fortunate as an industry to have you guiding us into it, Austin. Thank you. Been a real pleasure to have you here on the show today. Is there anything we haven't covered yet that you wanted to be sure to share with our audience? And we'll get your contact information here in just a tiny bit also.
Yeah, I mean, number one is just we're always trying to share updates about these changes. Like it really is changing fast, and the data that I shared with you today is has been shaped over in the last 2-3 months, right? Like every month there's more information, and I think one of the things that I will just say is like we can very much be your guide without you needing to think about a lot of this stuff in your business. Like we're making optimizations to the software to constantly stay ahead of these things without you needing to stay on top of them. So we do work with agencies that are a little bit more in tune with these changes, as you would imagine. But ultimately, our job is to abstract that stuff away from your business so that you can focus on what you are great at, which is providing a great customer experience and installing great projects into the home. And so, we talked a lot about a lot of complicated things that are obviously ever changing, but like our goal is to make this simple for you, to make this easy, to make it painless, to make your brand represented in the way that you'd want it to be, and stay ahead of those changes.
Wow. Thank you. Well, this really has been a very valuable time together. Now, before we close out, though, I'm going to ask if you're willing to participate in our rapid fire questions. So these are 5 questions. Some are serious, some may be silly. All you have to do is give a response. Are you up to the challenge of rapid fire, Austin?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Ryan, you want to ask the first question?
Sure, I would love to. Question number 1. What school teacher do you have the best memories of?
This is hilarious. I was just talking about a school teacher this morning with my team. I actually have the good fortune of having a team member that I grew up with in our company. So we were just reminiscing on our computer class this morning, and her name was Miss Holschlag. So we were just talking about this an hour ago.
That is wild. Good stuff.
That's funny.
Okay, next question. If you had to eat a crayon, what color of crayon would you choose to eat?
Oh gosh, let's go with blue.
Any particular reason? Just sounds good.
Maybe it'll hope that it tastes like a blueberry going down.
There you go. There you go. I hear there's a bunch of poison blueberries out there right now. Did you see that on the news?
Yeah.
They're saying
man.
you could die from eating these things.
It's like the highest level FDA warning, I believe.
Well, by the way, before we go to the next question, I did not do a shout out to Miss Holschlag because she impacted lives. So good stuff.
Yeah, she did.
All right, question number 3. What is a piece of advice you were once given that you often think about?
I think just like leave the world in a better place than you found it, and do good by people, like do right by people. And I think if you live by those words and create, not take, that's something that I kind of always live by. And try to, the golden rule, treat people the way you'd like to be treated, and is always important to just do right by people, and be a good person out there.
Very cool. Great answer. Golly, is it me again? I guess it is. Do you have any hidden talent that most people would not know about?
I don't know if I do, but I would say like my fun fact or hidden talent is actually my cat plays fetch, and she can do like about like 12 different tricks, like jump through a hoop and fetch and sit and all kinds of different things. And so I don't know if it's a talent of mine necessarily, but it's a talent of my cat that has lots of talents.
That's impressive. I've never heard of a cat being able to do anything like that. So
I don't know what it was. I honestly, she grew up with a dog, and she just got like a lot of dog tendencies, but then she just really likes to do tricks. Like she's really fast at learning like words. Like she just knows a lot of just words, and she does them. And I think we spend like maybe a couple weeks like teaching her something, and then she just can do it. It's pretty impressive.
Very cool.
all right, final question here. This one's a little more serious. When the gavel strikes at the end of your days, what would you most like to be remembered for?
Yeah, I think that this sort of comes back to the what question number one or two there, which was just like created something that made a big impact in people's lives, and something bigger than me by hopefully a lot. I always look at, a lot of the influential people in this world have created things that have really improved lives. And I think if I've improved people's lives materially, then I feel like that's what would make me most happy and most content with this life.
Love it. Thank you very much for participating in Rapid Fire. Those were all great answers. Well, Austin, I love what you're doing. I'm thrilled by the success that you're bringing to contractors and really helping lead our industry through some pretty major change and advancement right now. So very cool stuff. If folks want to connect with you or learn more about Demand IQ, give us some of the best ways for them to do that. We'll put this information in the show notes as well.
Yeah, go on over to demandiq.com or demand-iq.com. Either one will get us to our website. You can certainly reach out to me. Probably LinkedIn is just like a great way for anyone who's on LinkedIn to just look me up, Austin Rosenbaum. Always connecting and messaging with people there. I sometimes feel like that's just as good as texting these days. It's just message me on LinkedIn. I'm always quite responsive there. You can also email me, austinr@demand-iq.com. Those are all great ways to reach out. But if you want to take a look at what we have, see whether instant quotes is something that can help you out, we can certainly take a look at your site and tell you whether or not this would be something that would benefit you. So I think that's just equally important, is that we do want to make sure that this is something, if you were to do an instant quote, that it's a good fit for you. So we're happy to give you some feedback on whether or not that would impact your business based on the people coming to your site.
Well, good stuff. And we certainly encourage all of our listeners to check it out. And no doubt that what you guys are doing would be a benefit to pretty much everyone out there. So good stuff. Hey, congratulations, guys. We all got in our challenge words. Ryan, your challenge word was?
Gavel. Threw it in there at the end.
You got it in there. Austin, yours was?
Brass knuckles. Hopefully Google doesn't get too mad at me for saying that they put on their brass knuckles on that one. So
maybe we won't get an M rating for that. We're always trying to get an M rating, but no, that won't do it. Good job though. Mine, okay, I cheated. My word was invigorate. I think I used invigorating, so I get a couple of demerit points for that. But good job, guys. Thank you. Well, thank you again for being on the show, Austin. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciated the opportunity to chat with you guys for a bit here. It's always fun to riff on this stuff, and certainly appreciate the opportunity to just share what we're doing. And there's so much to talk about with digital marketing, and appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk about it.
Well, thank you very much. And we'll probably do this a year from now and see what's shaking and going on then as well. So thank you again. And thank you to our audience for tuning in. Please watch for future episodes of Construction Disruption. We're always blessed with great guests. Don't forget to leave a review, please, on Apple Podcasts. Give us a thumbs up, whatever. Until the next time we're together, though, keep on disrupting, keep on challenging those around you in the world to better ways of doing things. And don't forget to have a positive impact on everyone you encounter. Powerful ways to change the world just by having a positive impact. So God bless and take care. This is Isaiah Industries signing off until the next episode of Construction Disruption.
This podcast is produced by Isaiah Industries, manufacturer of specialty metal roofing and other building products.